uh, discuss about discuss about this particular use case, and we will see how like the merchant acquiring system can have with the UiPath Test Suite, how we can do the automation, and how we can see the automation can be take place, and all the related to the payments can be automated by using UiPath. So we will discuss about the strategy and the pain points, whatever the industry is having, and how the UiPath Test Suite can solve the problem. So this is the like agenda which I have kept. Let me quickly share my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, yes, Swati.
Okay. Okay. So, and I'm audible properly, right?
Yes, yes, you're
There is
clear.
no. Great. So the today's agenda have kept very crisp related to merchant payment system, and how the integrated system with the merchant payments can be tested with the UiPath test suite. So about me, like I'll not go into depth. You can check my LinkedIn profile for that. And like I'm a founder and director of Step One Step Ahead. We are doing the test automation and RPA project related to UiPath, and we are having client at the globe. So you can check my profile. You can ping me on LinkedIn if you wanted to talk to me. Okay, so agenda of this particular session is like we will first see the about use case, what are the challenges in the industry, then related solution and the benefits of how benefits of doing this particular test automation by using UiPath Test Suite. So this is use case description, the merchant payment system, end-to-end testing, and doing the automation related to that. The industry is fintech, payment, and it's a banking industry. So in banks, there are POS system, then there are fintech companies who are already having a POS systems. So the domain is related to payment. So application which we are covering in these are like web, mobile, and POS devices. So the POS device testing is a difficult like sector in terms of doing the testing related to POS. And in terms of web and mobile also, there are some challenges which you must be facing related to doing the test automation. So we will discuss about that. This is the test automation using the UiPath test suite. So merchant portal is having two types of portals, web portals in that. One is the merchant application and the admin application, so that that particular admin can configure different types of merchant. So for let me give you a simple example. Suppose I am having Chroma, and like Chroma as a merchant, so there will be multiple Chroma centers which will be there in India, will be like related to that particular merchant. So merchant, that Chroma will be getting the merchant ID, and there will be under that particular parent merchant, there will be different merchant will be in place. So this particular merchant system will be taking care of merchant admin, as well as the mobile application which merchant will be using. All the payment gateways will be taking like care related to that, and the POS terminal. The POS is also important part, because like by using that device, the POS device, all the transactions are getting done. So these four things which are there related to merchant acquiring system. And when we have spoken with different QA managers, then QA heads of the merchant system companies, we came to know like they are having a lot of challenges related to incomplete regression after doing any changes, like any CR change request in that particular merchant system. So in terms of like incomplete regression, suppose they are having like thousands of test cases, and doing that thousand of test cases execution in like 1 or 2 days by using 4 to 5 manual tester is not feasible and not possible, because person cannot work 24/7. So in terms of regression, they are facing a lot of challenges. Then because of that challenge, there will be a defect leakage which is linked to it on the production. So they are having a lot of defects which are leaked like on production, and because of that, defect masking is also there. So one defect will be hiding second defect, so that is called as defect masking, which is there because of like manual testing and regression is not possible. So it leads to delay in go to market, financial losses, and day and night they were doing the testing. So these are the challenges this particular payment industry is facing. I know these challenges are faced by any other industries as well, but now, like today, I'm talking about this particular industry, and all these research we have done related to payment and merchant acquiring system industry. So these all challenges needs to be solved by somewhere, so by using some tool, and UiPath Test Suite is the solution for that, definitely. Because when it's come into for the creation of the script, we don't need any coding. So all the scripts creation and the orchestrator we can use for running the script or script executions. A robot will be there also. So it is a combination of UiPath Test Suite and orchestrator and test robot, where like this all challenges will be getting done, and all the regression pack whatever will be there, like for example 1500 test cases are there related to regression. Any change request is coming into the system, then like all these test cases can run by the robot and by using the orchestrator, and it can be created by using the test suite. And in this case, like this merchant acquiring system can be tested by using the entire pack, and it will save around for 87 percentage of time. And this is a research which we have done, and we have gone through like multiple companies QA managers and multiple merchant acquiring system companies test manager, product managers, and according to that, like this particular data we are presenting here. So now, like, what is the solution in terms of UiPath Studio, UiPath Test Manager, then orchestrator, robots? So, what are the steps we need to take? Is the like next thing coming into the mind? So, we need to first define the test scenario. Definitely, we need to see the what is the test coverage where we need to test this particular merchant acquiring system. So, we need to thought of test scenarios. In additionally, we can create the RTM, requirement traceability metrics, for these automation test scenarios and cases. Then we need to set up the test data. Relevant test data is also important. Otherwise, we are not having a good execution reports related to the complete regression as well as the test coverage. So that is very important. So setting up the test data will be the next step. Then we need to design the proper test cases related to this particular system. Then configure UiPath Test Suite. That is the next step. Then implement this test automation by using the UiPath Studio. And like we need to do this particular test scripts creation, or how our test cases work. And if you want to create a framework, you need to create a framework on the UiPath Studio. So all these things you need to do by using UiPath. Then we need to see like which type of testing will be there. So it will be data driven testing, model driven testing, or a hybrid. So what type of testing? So here in merchant system we have used like data driven testing, and the depending upon the different types of data, we are like the framework we have created, and we are using that for the particular payment systems. Then test execution and reporting using the orchestrator and test manager, which is very important part, where test manager will have all the details related to test cases, and orchestrator will be used for like execution of the test cases. So we can schedule the test cases by using the orchestrator. You will get the report using that. So that is very important part. So then the integration testing, because these merchant systems are integrated with the bank's system. So that is very important. Merchant systems are integrated with the POS related some devices. So middleware will be there, some APIs will be there. So all these chains we need to connect. So all these integrated systems will be there, and we need to take care of integration. So integration testing is important. We need to create the integration test scenarios and cases. In this case, CI/CD is very important part in case of like any type of testing, but in merchant acquiring system, yeah, CI/CD we have used, and in integration with the CI/CD, it is very helpful whenever the build is getting pushed into the environment. Like we will be getting entire CI/CD pipeline, and we will be getting the report at the end after completion of that regression pack. So CI/CD we can use definitely in by using the UiPath Test Suite. Maintenance and iterations, yeah. So maintenance and iteration will be there after completion of entire thing. If anything is coming into the maintenance part, or any CR is coming, and because of that, by using the requirement traceability matrix, we will see which test cases are getting impacted. Again, the maintenance needs to be done. And in this case, like will be saving a lot of time if any other tool or any other coding related platform, if you are using, then it will be like 50 to 60% around like time saving, effort saving for you by using UiPath Test Suite. And for maintenance, it will be 75 to 80%. So by using UiPath Test Suite, like merchant acquiring system can be tested, and it will take less time, and it will save like time and efforts, as well as like financially it is good for our customers. So that is very important, because customer wants how we will give the financial like related growth to them. They wanted to focus on ROI, so that is also important part. So this is related to end-to-end testing, starting from the defining of the test scenario to the like end of the maintenance. So these all areas which I have explained. So do you have any question, or I can move forward? Just any question? Okay, I don't see any questions, so let me move forward. Okay, so this is the end-to-end like testing which is there. Apart from that, you can see here this is the building block, like how it is getting connected: the UiPath Test Manager, Studio, Orchestrator, and the robots. So how the activities are getting linked, you can use GitHub and trigger the DevOps, how it is getting that done. So this is the general like diagram where you can see the integration. You can see the how test execution is done, how the robots are getting executed, how the test manager is linked, and how we are pulling the test cases related thing from the test manager. And on orchestrator we are executing on or scheduling the test cases. After test case execution, you can develop or you can take plugins for the reports, You can show the reports related to the actual result, screenshots, whatever, after execution is there. In case of pass or fail, test cases result status will be there. Actual and expected result can be shown into that particular report. You will get the metrics related to execution metrics, then defect related metrics, all can be done by using UiPath. So this is the end-to-end solution for the merchant acquiring system, which is there. So what are the benefits related to the execution or the implementation of UiPath? So it is 60% faster time to market, then 95% like you can achieve the test coverage. In case of some cases, you can achieve 100% also, but approximately this is the number, 95% can be achieved, and this is surely achieved because we are doing a lot of projects and we are getting uh, more than that this result. So that is there. 75% savings for the maintenance, as I mentioned earlier, and 100% accuracy. So it's accurately you will get the result, efficiently. UiPath Test Suite is there to help out for the merchant acquiring system, and any type of merchant acquiring system, POS system related test cases can be tested, and with maybe 4 to 8 weeks, and you will get entire pack ready. So it is so easy to test or to create the scripts by using UiPath Test Suite, and merchant acquiring system related test cases can be automated. And we are having a related solutions also for that. So in case of any query, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and if you have any question, you can ask me now. I'm just checking the chat window. Um so Vidhi is asking, are you going to cover rules and license required for the test execution? Definitely, Vidhi. So when I'm coming into, let me open that page. Okay. So whenever you are using the UiPath Test Suite, you will be needing UiPath Studio for creation of scripts, UiPath Test Manager for putting the requirements and test cases. Orchestrator is used for execution of the script or scheduling the scripts, and robots are actual doing the execution. So these four licenses will be needed whenever you are going into any type of project related to UiPath test suite. And this is a complete pack, and related license costing. If you want, you can go ahead on the UiPath website. You will find all the costing related details related to each and every license and the bundle license. So everything is mentioned over there. Second question, let me see. Do you have ALM connected to the UiPath Test Manager? So, Krishna, a good question. ALM, instead of Test Manager, you can connect ALM as well. And any type of application, like you can create, you can connect Jira. So we are having plugins in UiPath to connect Jira. Then you can connect Zyper, which is there inside the Jira as well. So you can have any type of connections related to ALM tools and test management tools if you are using. So yes, this is possible. Okay, so I think I think only two questions from Vidhi and Krishna. So anything else, you can reach out to me. And now hand over to Rohit again.
Yeah, I think Rohit might be not there on the call, but
Okay.
thank you so much, Swati, for walking us through on the use case. Definitely, I will resonate to that. UiPath Test Suite is actually a very great platform, especially when you're bringing in a different format of application, right? You're having your web, you're having your mobile, separate mobile application, and all in one if you want to do a testing. So UiPath Test Suite is a perfect platform. Thank you for covering them. Uh,
Okay.
next we
Thanks, Vidhi.
have Next, we have Preeti from Boundaryless who will be presenting our use case. Over to you, Preeti.
Thank you, Vinu. Let me share my screen. Okay. So, very good afternoon to everyone more present here. Myself, Preeti Murali, and I'm RPA developer at Boundaryless Group. So, let me quickly move on to the agenda. So, the first thing which I will be discussing is the role of RPA in banking domain. So, how it is useful and how it is useful to automate the business process, and what are the advantages. And then I'll be talking about why testing of a banking application or a banking site is important. And then I'll be sharing the RPA use cases related to banking. And I have also prepared a small demo using UiPath Test Suite, which uses a test website, and I'll be showcasing the demo. And finally, I have also given some references to the UiPath case studies and success stories, specifically in BFSI domain. So what is the role of RPA in BFSI domain? So basically, banking application has lots of manual processes which are repetitive. So RPA plays an important role in that. So first thing, let us move on to the improved customer service. So a lot of customers ask routine queries to the banking staff, right? So such queries can be answered by RPA bot, and the banking staff can focus more on the complex and personalized customer interactions. And when it comes to data, any banking application will process large amounts of data, and definitely there will be a lot of data entry operations that will be done by the banking staff, right? So for faster and accurate data entry, we can use the RPA. So there are a lot of compliance checks that needs to be done, be it a government bank or a private. So there will be regular auditing and everything, right? So for all those compliance checks, we can easily automate by using RPA. And now AI is also there. So AI combined with RPA can be used for even identifying the fraudulent activities. So the major chunk of the bank business is the loans. So when we go and apply for a loan in the bank, there will be a lot of documentation which we need to submit, and we need to fill up forms, and they need to verify a lot of information, and routine approvals are also there. And in turn, we also get the loan documents, right? So all these document processing can also be done easily by using RPA. So we have the document understanding of UiPath, which can be used for loan processing. So some operations like cash reconciliation or vendor accounts payable department, or any report generation, say weekly reports or monthly reports or end of the year. So all those back office operations can also be automated by using RPA. So what is the use of doing a process automation? That is, like, it is going to optimize the cost. So we do a lot of things in lesser time. So manually, when we do certain repetitive tasks, there will be a lot of errors also. Chances of errors are more, and moreover, the time taken is also more. So it will optimize the cost by using RPA. We can optimize the cost and also boost the efficiency. So we do a lot of work in smaller time, so we have space for more work. So we can get more clients and more customers. So those are the major advantages of using RPA, specifically in banking domain. So now, why do we need testing? how important is testing, especially for banking applications. Because as I already mentioned, there are lots of customers and all their personal data, financial data, everything will be with the application, right, within the application. So sensitive financial informations are handled by banking applications. So we have to make sure there is no loss of information, and for that the testing is very, very important. So sometimes there are because it's sensitive, the security of such banking websites also plays an important role. So the bank website should be secure. There should not be any data leak or something. So we need to identify the security vulnerabilities. So for all those things, the testing is really important. Security testing is very important. And of course, the performance and scalability comes the major part, because a particular bank website can be used by a lot of customers, and definitely there will be a lot of transactions that is going to be done, and there will be concurrent users also, right? So we need to do testing so that it will help to evaluate the performance and scalability of that particular application. So the next thing is mainly the customers are going to use your banking websites or bank applications, right? So for that, they need to have a very good user experience. So there should not be any confusion for them. So they might not be a techie person. So even a simple old or a simple person like who's not very much used to handling the websites also should be able to easily navigate and do it. So the usability is really important. So there should not be any issues like navigation problems or continuous transaction errors. So all those things can be avoided and identified well before it goes to the production by using by doing testing. And each and every application, like it is going to be connected. The banking application is going to be connected with different third-party systems and payment gateways, right? So the integration testing is really important, and we have to make sure the data is exchanged accurately and without much compatibility issues. So these are some of the key factors why we require testing of the banking applications, be it any application, especially the banking application. So for the demo scenario, I have just used a test website, which is the Parabank Parasoft, and I have used UiPath Test Suite to automate some basic scenarios like logging into the website, opening a new account, transferring of funds, and then finally log out from the website. So before moving on to the demo, I would like to share some use cases, especially in banking, where RPA can play an important role. So example like customer service. Say for example, we can create chatbots to answer 24/7 queries. The vendor management can be done. The payments, the invoices processing can also be done. And we have the fraud detection. So now along with the AI, we can also try to identify the fraud. Of course, not completely, but to a certain extent, we should be able to do it. And even the account opening processes, account closure process, all these things have some repetitive manual tasks, and such things can be automated by using RPA. So one of the simple example which I would like to take is the KYC. So we need to submit the KYC documents, right? So either we do it online or we go to the bank and then we are doing it, right? So when we do it online, what we do? So we are going to fill a form, KYC form, and then we are going to attach some proofs with that. And then in the background, the back office person, he is going to verify the documents, and then he is going to enter in the system. So that verification process can also be done by a bot. It can extract the information from the documents, and then it can actually do some data entry also along with that. So finally, it can also send an email back so that it can be automated. Excuse me, sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so those documents can be submitted, whatever documents the user has submitted, the RPA bot can actually extract the information, verify it, and then he can, the bot can send an email, success or failure email, like whether the KYC is done or not. They can send the email to the user or the customer. So moving over to the demo. So I'll just play this demo. So please let me know if you're able to hear it clearly. Otherwise, I'll pause it and then I will explain it. Just a minute. Website. Are you able to hear it?
Yeah, Priti.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just play it from the beginning.
For demo purpose, I have used this testing website, and I have created the requirements in Test Manager, and I have also linked the test cases from Studio to the Test Manager. So basically, we are going to see 4 types of scenarios. The first one is the login. So the user should be able to log into the website with valid login credentials, and the user should not be able to log into the website with an invalid login credential. So the next thing is once a user is registered in this test website, it will be assigned a particular account number. So the second scenario is to create a new account. So it's like a secondary account which is going to be created. So there are 2 things. First thing is that we can create a new account if the valid account ID is given in the test data. Otherwise, if the account ID which we have given is invalid, the user will not be able to create another new account. So that is the second scenario. So the third scenario is once he has created the new account in the website.
Hi, Priti. There is some request from the chat that the audio in the video is not so clear.
Okay. So I will explain it maybe.
Yeah, please.
So this is the test manager. Okay, so where I have given the requirements under the requirements tab. So before that, let me just show you the website. Just give me a minute.
I also linked the test cases.
Okay, so this is the test website which I have used. So in this website, I have created a user and password, and for that user, there is an account number which is linked. So we'll be testing some very basic scenarios in this website. So that is what I will be explaining in this demo. So the first thing is like I have created, this is a UiPath Test Manager. So I have created some requirements in the UiPath Test Manager. So let me just explain you what are the basic requirements or the test cases which I have done. So connected with this requirement. So first thing is the valid login credentials. So for any application, we need the login, right? So I have just used 2 test cases. One with the valid login credentials. So if we give the valid login credentials, the user should be able to log into the website and the account summary page will be displayed. And if we give an invalid login credential, the user should not be able to log into the website. So similarly, like whenever we register the user in that particular website, in the test website, it is linked to an account ID. The user is linked with the account ID. So we can create a new account, like the secondary account, so that we can use that as a secondary account. So that test is checked here. So user should be able to create a new account by transferring some amount from the main account to the secondary account. And that should be done only when it is a valid account ID. And if it's an invalid account ID, it should not be able to do it. So similarly, once the secondary account is created, the funds can be transferred from the original account to the secondary account. And that should be possible only if the secondary account number is a valid number. So what I have done is in the test data, I have given, modified the test data so that the input will, the test data will have a valid account and also an invalid account so that we can test both the use cases. Sorry, both the test cases. So finally, we are going to see the logout of the banking application. So let me just show you here. So this website is a test website. So you can actually, I can share the link. So you can actually go and do your testing, even manual testing you can do. You can use this test suite. It's a very basic website. So here what I'm doing is I'm first manually showing you how it's logging in. Just a minute, I'll forward it. Okay, so manually I have already created this test ID. So registered this username and password. So I'll be checking it manually. Okay, so here what happens is, because it's a test website, it has lots of errors. So even if we have registered, given a registered username and password, it's going to throw an error. Instead of account summary page, it was throwing an error. So basically, when we run this particular test case, that is the test case 1, which I'll be showing you shortly, it should fail and it should tell that it's not there is an error, right? So that's what we are going to see. Okay, so whatever test cases, it's the workflows, right? The scripts which I have created, it is in the UiPath Studio, and this is the cloud platform of UiPath Orchestrator. So I have published all the test cases along with the process flows in the Orchestrator. So once that is done, we can see a testing tab. So in which we can see the test sets and then the test cases and whether, like, what are the execution results, everything. So we go to the testing tab, and then I go to the test cases. Before that, let me just explain the test set. So test set is like we can select few test cases and we can run it from the test set. So like if you want to test only a particular functionality, say just a login module alone, you can just create a test set where only these 2 test cases are being added and will be executed. So like that, especially when we are going to do a regression testing or something where we need to test only few things. So from the existing test cases, we can create new test sets so that we can do a smoke test or a regression test for that particular change. So now I'm just executing this first thing. So it is going to log into the website. Through UiPath, I have automated the things using UI automation. So it's going to log into the website. So now here you can easily see it's going to run the results, the test case is running, and the execution results will also be updated here. So the bot is doing this. So the bot is logging in. So now it's going to throw an error. So that's why the test case has failed. So now I am going to show you. Yeah, so this is where we can see the assertions, why exactly it has failed. So we can give more details in the workflow. So I have just made it simple. So if you see in the test manager, we can go to the test results tab and it will be automatically updated. So this is the first test case and it's automatically updated the results. So these are the previous runs which I have done. So now let me, I'm going to execute the second test case, which is login with the invalid credentials. So in this test case should pass if there is an error, right? So we are going to give invalid credentials. So the expected result is it should throw an error. So hence the test case will be passed. So let me just run it quickly and show you. Okay, so here it's giving an invalid username and we are getting the error. So though we are getting the error, this is the expected result. Hence the test case will pass. So if you see, it's passed, and the same thing will be updated in the test results tab in the test manager. So finally, we can extract the test execution reports and everything from the test manager. Okay, so then the next test case which I'm going to see is the opening a new account. So this is the accounts which is already opened. So I have given this number 15453 is a primary account number. So I have given this number as a test data, and then I'm going to use this to open a new account. So in the fourth test case, I have given an invalid account number. So then we are going to see whether the account is opened or not. So first, I'm going to give a valid data. So open a new account with valid account ID. So it's running. So here it will click on the bot will click on the open new account, and then it will select that particular correct account number, and then it says account opened. So the test case will pass. And same thing I have again shown in the UiPath Test Manager. So I'll just forward this part because it's the same thing. So now the fourth one is I'm going to give an invalid account ID. So it will not be able to create the account, new account. So the primary account ID is an invalid account. So we will not be able to create a new account. So this is the older one. So now again, it's going to click on an open new account, but here it will not be able to select the correct one. So we are going to capture that, and we are going to verify it using the test suite, testing activities. So once that is done, it will be displaying whether it is it's able to update or not, it's able to create a new one or not. So accordingly, the test case will pass. So this is a negative test case, right? So even though it's not able to create a new account, that is the expected result. So the test case result will be pass. So if you see here, this will be passed. So the same thing I have just shown here. So let me just move on. So the next thing is the transfer funds. So I'll be transferring the funds from 15453 to 15564. So the process flow, everything is done with UiPath Studio, and then the test case is also created through the UiPath Test Suite, and I'll be running this test case now. So transfer funds from a valid account ID. So it should be able to successfully transfer. So I'll just forward a little bit. So it's going to click on transfer funds, and then it's going to select the from account ID, which is the primary one, and then it is going to select the test account ID, which I have given through the test data. And now the transfer is complete because I have given the valid ID. So again, it's the same thing, it's passed. So now let me move on to the next one, which is the invalid account ID, transferring funds through invalid account ID. So now, just to cross check whether the transfer is completed or not, we can go inside and check whether your process has completed the transfer. So if you see here, first initially the transfer of funds will be 100, and then it will be 250, whatever that is the default one which is there. So that is a transfer funds to invalid account ID. So here it will not be able to transfer, and that is the expected result. So hence this test case will also pass. So I have tried to use a UiPath Test Suite just to explain a very simple scenario, especially it might be useful for beginners who are going to work on UiPath Test Suite. So, okay. So the last thing, which is the logout. So the same thing, but yeah, I'll just forward it because it's going to log out of the application, and then we are going to see all the results here in the test results. So we can click on the test cases also. Next, I'll show you in the test cases tab, we will see the latest result, latest run. So for the latest result, the first test case was failed because we were not able to log in with the valid credentials, but rest all test cases have been passed. Okay, so here I would like to share some of the things which customer like yeah. So how they have used some customers, I have got this from UiPath sites. So some customers, they have shared their what do you call, their experience with the UiPath Test Suite. So one of the customer is from Trust Bank. So he has told like they have, they have used the UiPath Test Suite and also the UiPath process mining, and it has improved their efficiency. And one of the things like finance of America companies. So he has explained, like he has just shared how the UiPath test suite can be used to identify the bugs earlier in the cycle, and we can also fix the. If we fix the bug, it will be expensive, right? When we do it towards the end after the production, so it's earlier we detect, the cheaper it is. So how we have done and how the test execution time has been reduced. So all those things she has shared. And these are some of the links, UiPath specific links. If you want, I can share it with you. And there are lots of white papers and also success stories which you can see, especially with banking and financial domain. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed the session. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Preeti.
Over to you, Vivno.
Thank you, Preeti, for that. And thank you for showing all that demo. Actually, it is quite useful for the people who are just starting it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So I know we have quite a time left, but if I'm extending just for 5 or 10 minutes, please bear with me. I'll try to keep it very much short. So I am Vino Livanadar. Hope my screen is visible. I'm an automation technical lead working for Accelerate, and also I'm UiPath MVP for this year. I'm especially looking into the products like document understanding and test suite. And as part of today's demo, I'll be showing you how we are actually implementing a kind of test automation for one of our banking clients. And this is actually in progress so that I can actually share you what are the best practices that you can perform throughout. So generally, when it comes to API testing, right, there has been quite a few challenges because testing is basically performed by a set of person who are actually very much are actually having a very good knowledge about a particular domain, right? So they may not have the technical expertise. So when it comes to APIs in general, um, you have to pass the API request by sending out a specific payload of information, right? And either sometimes it can be a JSON payload, or you pack together, and or it can be a XML payload, all this information. But as for a person who has not no such technical knowledge, it will be a kind of challenge for preparing that parameters and sending it through. And the next thing is when it comes to APIs, right? Normally, when it comes to web automation, normally you can go through some screens and you can validate the information. If the login has been successful, or if my provided data has been successfully validated or not. But when it comes to API, you only have to rely on the response parameter that you're getting back. So there is no GUI where you can, a business user can go ahead and can validate that information. And also, with the APIs, right? So if it is a REST API, you can get a response back in JSON or in an HTML page. And or if else, if you're using a SOAP APIs, then you may get a response from an XML format. So when there are different formats of information you're fetching from, and you want to validate all the information that is been fetched is right or not, again, there is a challenge to it. And again, speaking in general, when it comes to test automation, right in the scope of the manual testers, it has been a challenge of how they are able to pass the data and perform the API testing. So that's where your UiPath Test Suite will be a great help. In fact, UiPath Test Suite is is one of the platform that can integrate with any part of your testing lifecycle, right? May it can be the web and or the mobile devices that Swati was going through our use case, or maybe it is only a web or platform that I want to intensely test automate, right? And normally it can be working on your API based applications as well. So UiPath, you can actually build your test cases in no matter of time using their extensive set of libraries. And obviously, when it comes to API, they already have a they have a suite of product for integration service where you can directly integrate with a third-party system APIs. And in fact, you can actually, if you have your own API built and you have a Swagger link for that, you can apply that. You can just upload that Swagger to the integration service, and it can readily perform your test automation. Or traditionally, if you want to do things, you have your couple of activities under the HTTP request where you can build your custom code for sending out the response and validating if the your the sent request has been right or not. And with the UI path, right, you get an access both to the presentation layer. You can do a web automation through which you can actually go through a specific part of the application to validate if the information is right, or else you can just validate the response that you're getting from the API request. So speaking in general about the use case that we are trying to automate here, right? So we have an application from a client, and this particular API has been consuming a lot of other backend services, right? It is actually kind of middle layer that actually consumes a lot of downstream processes, and it actually connects to different data sources as well. And also, in fact, it has been heavily used by different people in the organization. It can be the operational team. They are using the APIs in some indirectly or indirectly in a way, using the web UI, which has been built by the APIs. And also there has been different APIs in the upstream process as well that is consuming the targeted APIs. And also there are different Azure cloud functions that is acting as an integration, which is exposing this APIs. So there are a lot of connections made to this API in general. So it is a very it is one of the very important system in the client that needs an automated system. Currently, everything is actually been manual. So currently, definitely there was a need to have an automation in place to test all the APIs that has been developed. And with all the challenges that we are facing, as part of manually testing this APIs, obviously, when it comes to API testing, it is very much resource intensive, and you may not able to end up covering all the bits of your APIs. And since you're doing everything manually, you want to validate your information out. So it's a very time consuming process, and because of that your release cycles will be definitely affected. And one of the major problem that we faced here is, let's say there can be multiple CRs on a particular request, right? So whenever we wanted to re-execute a CR, the time to process through the development cycle, and again to do a testing and a regression testing on that was a bit challenge. Because whenever there used to be a data change, you need to again inform the manual testers about the data change, and again they have to prepare the test cases accordingly. So it's been a challenge there. And again, since I mentioned this particular API, it actually consumes a lot of other third-party services in the behind the scenes. So in order to validate that information, if it is fetched correctly from that specific source, was a biggest challenge, right? And the main thing, right now all the results were in spreadsheet, right? And spreadsheet is, it is good for a small grade application if you want to just pass in the test case and get the test result back. But when it comes to an enterprise grade application, something of this sort, it becomes very much difficult. You don't have a central place of evidence to maintain that. Then there is, obviously, when it comes to creating the JSON payload for passing in your data for sending your post request, you have to prepare those data sets. And again, if you want to do it manually, it has been a bigger challenge. Currently, they had different Excel macros, built in for that. But again, Excel macros is not an scalable way for building your test data. So we actually explored a different way, and right now we came up with a solution that has all of these bits covered. So I'm going to tell you about the approach that we used for this particular client, so that if you have a similar requirement, you can actually use the kind of similar approach. So the very first thing, this client already had an UiPath ecosystem within them, right? So it become very much easy for us in order to set up the other infrastructure things. Otherwise, it can be you need to add one more layer of work where you have to set up that infrastructure. You want to educate the person about how to do certain things in a way. But here they already had the UiPath ecosystem. They in fact they have a very good governance practice in place, so it made our life a bit easier there. And they were also exploring Test Suite for their web automation product. So in fact that gave us a limelight of how we can expose this to other services as well, and by that we got a way to to perform this automation on the particular API on this particular API applications. So very first thing, we were able to identify the major chain of APIs which had an intense level of testing, right? And for that, we connected with our own COE, and we were able to build in some reusable libraries, right? Some reusable libraries to which we were able to make, the post API calls, getting the APIs from our source systems, right? We were able to build that reusable component. Now, this actually helped us in two ways. Number one is obviously to getting the testing in speed, and secondly, it was actually helpful if there was some automation generally happening in this particular application. So instead of doing that automation in an UI way, we were able to get the reusable component that is already developed here, and we were able to pass in the data when it came to an RPA project. And the next thing, we were able to completely replace the Excel macros that they had for building their automated test data. We are able to build some of the reusable components back here where we can generate the test data, I mean the JSON payload for whatever the client had the request for. Now once we had the entire the dependency, the development dependency in place, all developed, we were able to run through the different test cases using data driven methodology, right? So once we are able to get in with the automated way of creating the test data, we actually pass that information to a central testing queue, and we were able to execute all our test cases based on the different value of the data sets. Now this actually helped us in covering all the aspect of the code. We were able to cover more than 95 percentage of the API code that was developed. And again, this actually completely eliminated the way of manual intervention, right? Once we were able to develop all our packages, we just had to put that into central orchestrator. So whenever there was a next release cycle, so automatically the test robots, because of the CI/CD we implemented on the bottom layer, uh, the test robots were able to pull in the updated code, and it was able to perform the test cases with all the test data that we had in the queues. Now, finally, we had a challenge of maintaining all the results in different spreadsheets. So we wanted to completely avoid that, and for that we actually brought in the test manager. So we produce out a way where for each of the different iteration we were able to create the different test sets, and we were able to categorize them according to the different scope of the business requirement. And finally, whatever the results that was getting generated, we were able to map it through the test manager, and the test manager became a single source of evidence for the project manager for tracking the results that is they are getting from the project, or even for the QA or the test or the people who are involved in the testing life cycle. So they were able to just get in there, and just for all the test sets they were able to find in the results of the execution. And finally, we were able to integrate this with different tools for, we were able to integrate this with Jira for our ALM for getting the requirement from the business user, and also from the manual testers where they were able to upload their test scenarios. And we were also able to integrate this with a service management tool where for each of the defect encountered, right, it was able to go there and create a ticket, and it was assigned back to the dev team. So this entire thing we were able to build in a complete agile methodology, and security and governance is the topmost priority because it is a banking client. And with UiPath, you get that as the very first layer, right? I mean, security and governance has been the topmost priority for UiPath, and we are able to completely integrate this suite of the completely suite of the application development into a CI/CD pipeline. So whenever there is a new release cycle, it happens automatically. So there is no complete, I mean, there is no manual intervention to that. So these are the details of the technologies and the domain where it is. So the current application, it has been used by the ops manager, and it can be, it is used by the different level of executives there, and it actually right fit into the banking domain. And with respect to the UiPath product, we were able to use the complete test suite here. We are able to get the test robot license. We are able to expose and create the different functionalities in the studio, and integrating with different API endpoints available. And speaking about the benefits, it's far more generic, but it actually gave up a lot more quantitative value for the client while implementing this. So right now they have a system in place, right? Rather than doing things manually, they have a system which is very much enterprise grade. I mean, whenever there is a change in the particular in the backend system, they don't need to worry about that, right? They have things covered. They have system where they can automatically test their scenarios. And with the data driven test case, by introducing the test queues, we were able to cover lot many about our code. And security and compliance, just as I covered, you get that by default in our UiPath suite of products. Then we were able to actually mock the different scenarios when it comes to banking, right? There may be a different set of environments. It's not only about your UAT, even in UAT, you will have different set of environments, and each environment performs, or you operates in a different way. But we were able to some way mimic that scenarios in our test cases, and we were able to execute them, and so that we are absolutely sure whenever the code is getting into the production that it has with a 0% defect. Then monitoring analysis is made very much simpler by using the test manager. And obviously, since we are implementing this, we can see the benefits out. We are able to, at least we can see that we are able to reduce that to 60% of having a development in place where we are accounting for the change request, and we are having a code that is having a 0% of defect in the production. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, so I'm almost with the end with my slide. You can just put out in the chat section and we can just go through it. Okay, I can just give 2 more minutes and we can just wind it up. And if you want to know more about the test manager, you can reach out to us in LinkedIn. We'll be more happy to help you in, in getting the right contacts and in setting up your things in the right way. Demo on this is not possible because it is completely on a client environment. But if given a chance, I will be able to mimic certain things um, outside the client environment in a similar way, which we did, and can show a demo maybe in the next series. But again, thank you so much everyone for joining, and thank you so much to our amazing speakers, Swati and Preeti. And also thank you so much, Amit, for joining us. Feel free to connect us in LinkedIn and post your questions. And obviously, we'll be continuing this series with next set of industry-specific use cases. So please please look out for our emails and please RSVP for that. Thank you so much, everyone. You all have a nice day.
Thank you. Thanks, Venu. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much.